The last thing that you need to know about electron configuration is how to do the noble gas shorthand. I'm sure that you noticed as you did the ChemQuest and skill practice and other practice problems that sometimes they got pretty long when you were getting up into the 4s and 5s. And there's actually an easier way to do it. You had to understand how to do it the whole way before you can do the short version. So the short version is called the noble gas shorthand. I have a periodic table off to the right here that we're going to use to do just a few example problems. Now the noble gases are everything that is highlighted now in that pinkish color. The noble gases is typically something that we have students learn during the first semester. But it does not show up on your midterm, so we didn't put it in when you learned the basics of the periodic table. But just keep that in mind that the group 8 there is the noble gas they are the noble gases, and that's what we'll be doing to do the noble gas shorthand. Now, in order to learn how to do this, I want you to take out a pencil and paper, pause this video, and I want you to draw out the electron configuration for neon, which is element number 10, and right below that I want you to draw out the electron configuration for sodium, which is element number 11. Go ahead and pause the video now. Now that you've done that, you should notice that they're very similar, just one number away from each other. So I'm going to write those out now. For neon, I get 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. Okay, and on the periodic table there, I've highlighted. Now remember that the helium is actually over by the hydrogen, so that's why it's the 1s2. Second, I have sodium. Sodium is element number 11. I have that highlighted in green. And I end up with 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, and 3s1. Now what you're supposed to notice here is that neon and sodium have the exact same electron configuration up until 2p6. So what we do, this is very easy to do. In order to write the noble gas shorthand, you find the noble gas right before the element that you're looking at. So I'm looking at sodium, which is right here. Oops, sorry about that. Sodium, which is element number 11. Neon is the noble gas right before it. So I write neon in brackets. And after that, I just finish the electron configuration. So I wrote neon in brackets, which represented the electron configuration up until that point. So when I wrote neon in brackets, that represented all of this, the 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. So instead of writing all of that, I just wrote neon in brackets and then went to 3s1. Okay. You can always do that with the noble gas right before it. Now, a question I always get is, well, what if I'm doing the electron configuration for a noble gas? Can I just put it in brackets? And the answer is you can't. You still have to follow the same rules. So you have to go to the noble gas before it and then do the rest of the electron configuration. Okay, so let's do one other example. The other example that I picked is chromium, which is element number 24. Go ahead and again pause the video and try to do the noble gas shorthand for chromium. When I do the noble gas shorthand for chromium, element 24, Again, the first thing that I have to do is pick the noble gas that is just before it. Now, if chromium is element 24, I look over to my noble gases, and argon is the noble gas closest to it, or closest before it. Remember, not necessarily closest to it, it has to be before the element. So I put argon in brackets, and when I put argon in brackets, that represents everything that I'm crossing out right now. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6. Okay, which means that if I've represented my electron configuration up until that point, I just continue with the rest of the electron configuration. So if I've gone all the way to 3p6, then I just start with 4s2 because this is the fourth energy level. 4s2, and then I do, since this is the third energy level for the D sublevel, it is 3d1, 3d2, 3d3, and 3d4. So that's my noble gas shorthand for chromium.